Welcome to Oasis.
And we are officially in game. Welcome everybody to Minnesota University Mankato versus the Miami Dade College. We're here on the first map, which is going to be Oasis. We are on the control point map. We're getting our hero picks in right away. Now they are on a custom rule set, which means they do not have access to their skins, as you can see in chat. But here we are as they're getting our hero picks in. Getting ready for the first round of the first map. Thank you everybody for showing up today, and let's see how it goes. Now MSUM seems to be opting for a little bit more of a dive-esque feel where you have that Lucio Genji, and we're seeing a kind of a similar thing happening on the terms of Miami Dade. So you see that they have Doomfist, which is kind of what the whole comp is going to be focused around, as well as a Junkrat and a Venture, which are able to really get into the backline of Minnesota University Mankato. Or Moorhead, I apologize. Now we see us opt for a Ramatra. That's going to be a little bit more of an interesting, kind of a more brawl style in terms of what they're going for. So let's get into this first match. Let's see how they contest this first point. Now, it looks like Moorhead is going to be trying to opt for a little bit of this high ground. Doomfist, as we saw, going into the backline. Going to be able to find a pick, first of all. And looks like that's going to be the first fight won for Moorhead. Going to be able to take that point. Genji trying to get a little bit on the backline. Tries to deflect the mine. Unable to make it happen. Lamacha, with that Nemesis mode, is able to kill all of these people in the backline. Always a good thing to see. Genji going for the Juno, able to find them. Nice little stagger there to finish the fight off. And gets out alive. Now, Moorhead needs to take this first point in order to try and capitalize on some of the space that they're taking in order to accomplish the objective, obviously, in order to try and win the game. So that's the first fight won for Moorhead. You can see they already have a big alt lead, which is going to be very helpful going into these next future fights. And the goal is going to be try to maintain the space that we have and make sure that we're able to continue having this lead. Now, this Doomfist is getting a little bit greedy. Manages to find a pick onto the Lucio, but we get a pick back onto the Venture. Able in order to stabilize this fight. Junkrat looking a little bit out of position, but Doomfist is doing the same. Tries to go for the back line. Our Genji's just barely caught out. Kiriko's able to teleport out. Saves us from devastation, but it looks like this fight is going to go in favor of Miami Dade. Lucio forced to retreat. And that's the second fight. One for them. Now, what do we see there? We saw that the Genji was a little bit caught out, getting a little bit greedy kind of in those fights, trying to take space that we didn't really have. And so that's what caused that first fight to go in the other way. So they have Whip Tire ready in order for an ultimate. You can see this Reaper's positioned up here on high ground. Genji tries to contest it. Wraith activated in order to try and escape. Doomfist going onto the backline. Misses the right click there on the Ashe. Now that's Genji Blade onto the backline. Manages to find the Junkrat. Tree of Life pops in order to try and protect their team. But it's too much. It's too much damage. Meteor Strike happens from the Doomfist onto the Ashe. Unable to find the kill. Doomfist goes for the punch out, but is unable to get anything in order to try and save this fight. Juno dies finally, and this Doomfist is going to be the last to fall. This is going to be a victory for Moorhead on this second fight of the map. Now, Riptire is still ready, but we use Tree of Life on the side of Miami Dade. That's a critical piece of utility that they are no longer going to have access to. The only support left is going to be that Orbital Strike from the Juno, and, well, that is a good ultimate, especially with the Sigma that we now see swap to. It's not going to be really good for the Reaper, because the Reaper's not able to make any sort of usage of that. Now, we do have Annihilation from Amacha and Kitsune Rush. There's the Riptire. Finds the Kiriko. This could be very bad for us. Now, Orbital Strike, I don't know if it's completely necessary. The Rock, and we're going to have to try and retreat out of this fight. Ramatra pulling back. Annihilation is, in fact, popped, however. But it's not enough. As we said, without the Kiriko in this fight, it's going to be a pretty easy fight win for Miami Dade. Genji's trying to retreat along with the Ashe. Gets a little greedy, maybe. Gets one. Able to escape with the help of the Kiriko. Always good to see. Now, looking into this next fight, we're going to see that MSU has a much higher ult economy. 2 of them are popped instantly. We still have beat available. Now, Bob is still out, but, I mean, at this point, maybe he's at a little overkill. A lot of ults being used on the side of Moorhead, and now they have Death Blossom as well as probably Gravital Flux from Miami Dade available. They are, however, at a very high percentage. Are they going to be able to get there in time? Reaper looks for a flank. Is it too late? It is. He tries to Wraith onto point and Death Blossom, but it's not enough. So Moorhead takes the first round of the first map. Now, what did we see there? We saw a lot of really, really good smart ult usages, especially on the side of Moorhead. So something that we noticed is that Miami-Dade is getting really excited, especially with some of those support ultimates. And what that's costing them is it's costing them a lot of that sustain in the fights. So we're going to hope to see from Miami-Dade a little bit better of that support ult economy in order to try and swing those fights in their favor. Meanwhile, Moorhead, I don't even think I saw Lucio ult that entire fight. And what that means is that they always have that available. They always have that beat available to drop in case of emergency. Now we see D.Va from the side of Miami-Dade. It looks like we're going to go for a little bit more of a dive comp right away. However, Moorhead thinking the same with the Winston, Genji, Lucio. We take early control of the point. Let's see how we go. A couple pot shots being fired off in order to look for some early damage, but not really too much is going to happen here except for building support ults. Winston's already at that 13% ult charge. Could be helpful in a potential fight. Now, a Reaper teleport in could spell danger from Moorhead. Venture's pulled out by the life grip, and a D.Va rockets are able to find Ashe. This could be a bad fight for us at this point. Unless we're able to find a pick onto their DPS, we're going to have to retreat from this fight and give them that very first point tick of damage. Now, Taz is able to manage to get the D.Va out of mech, always helpful. But with Lifeweaver on this pedal, it's going to be tricky to catch. Shielded away. We're trying to get onto their backline. We kill the Ashe, which is important. Or sorry, we kill their D.Va, which is an important part of their team. And so now they have no tank, no supports. All that's left is the Reaper, who's going to Wraith to try and get some extra percentages. But it's not going to be enough. Now let's take a look at the ultimates in this game. As we see, we are not as much percentages on the side of Miami-Dade. Meanwhile, Moorhead is sitting at very, very healthy ult percentages, especially those critical ones like Primal Rage and Dragon Blade from the Genji. Those kind of ultimates could change the course of any given fight, and without the ults like D.Va's Bomb and Tree of Life, it's going to be tricky for Miami-Dade to make anything happen. Now, I think they're going to be able to build Tree of Life this fight, and we'll probably pop it. Moira's looking a little bit low. There's Dragon Blade from Taz. Kills the Moira. Kills the Lifeweaver. Always exciting. That's one fight, one for Moorhead. And notice how they only used 2 ultimates there. As I was talking about, the Primal Rage and that Dragon Blade. They maintain both support ultimates, which is critical for when they're using offensive ultimates. For example, that Venture ult and that Reaper ult. On the side of Miami-Dade, we're only seeing that they have Lifeweaver ult, Tree of Life, to remain to help them in this next fight. Now, will they pop beat? It's to be seen. So we pop Kitsune Rush in order to try and get some early damage. Tree of Life is popped very early from the enemy Lifeweaver. Bob, in order to try and maintain space on this point. Beat, maybe a little bit premature here, but this Venture is going to get booped off of the map by the Lucio! Oh, and amazing shots there by Veracity. Manages to take out the, what's it called, the Reaper and the Lifeweaver. And that's going to be a pretty easy fight here for Moorhead. So what did we see? Exactly what I was talking about. They only had Tree of Life in order to protect him, and they didn't even use the D.Va Bomb to try and save that fight. So they're going to be left with practically no ultimates in order to try and take this last point. And I think this is going to be the game 1 going to Moorhead. Always exciting to see. D.Va tries to save whatever they can. Now, once they're brought down to low health, they're going to use that bomb in order to try and do anything. But without any supports on their back line with this Winston, it's going to be tricky. D.Va tries to go onto the Winston, not going to do anything, and the Winston bubble is able to save everybody on the rest of the team. Going to be pretty easy to force them off the site at this point. And that's game 1 to going to Moorhead. Very, very good ultimate usage from Moorhead. As we were saying, it's important that we're not popping these support ultimates too early, because what it does is it takes away your sustain and it takes away the critical abilities that you need in order to win games. The DPS ults could be either way. Either team could be seen as making good DPS ults. But I would say, if you had to choose, I think you have to go with Moorhead. This Dragon Blade is so much more impactful than any of the bobs that I saw from the enemy Ashe. And the Venture ult, I don't even know if I saw a single one, or at least a single one connect in a meaningful way. So that's game 1 going to Moorhead. So now we're going to be working on the second. RN. Moving on to King's Row.
Now entering King's Row.
So here we are on King's Row. We're on Hero Select.
Initiating match.
So King's Row, as I said, is a very, very tight map on the first point and on the payload. But once you get to the second and third points, it becomes very, very wide open. So something to be very aware of. Looks like Moorhead is going to be starting, I believe, on defense. I could be wrong. I cannot tell. But
Ready for battle.
yep, Moorhead is going to be starting on the defense side. We're opting for a D.Va, Sojourn, and Echo. So this could be more of a dive style, but you could very much play for your backline. So what's going to happen is you're going to see that the Sojourn is going to sit on high ground, the Echo is going to try and disrupt the backline, and the Lucio Kiriko are kind of going to be go where needed, right? Go either high ground or low ground in order to try and make that happen. So let's see what the comp is looking like for Miami Dade. Now we're seeing a Doomfist, we're seeing a Torbjorn, and a Genji. So the Torbjorn, I'm a little confused about because the Doomfist on a Genji indicates a very heavy engaged style of play, but we're not seeing that from the Torbjorn or the Lifeweaver, and so we'll see how this ends up going. Now, Sojourn sitting on low ground, I don't know if I'm a big fan of that, but what it does is it allows you to play more turtles, a little bit more solid. So taking some early pot shots, Life Grip is used a little bit early here. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Defense Matrix, try and block some of those projectiles. Doomfist just tries to go in with the Seismic Slam. Really, what are we going to accomplish with that? Not too much, unless you're able to get into the backline like he does now. No Life Grip to pull him away, but MSU not able to take them out like they want to. So that turret is doing, again, I don't think very much of anything. Now we do see Genji going onto the right side. Barassi trying to tell them to no, go away! Early anti-nades from the Ana, and a massive punch from the Doomfist! Kiriko Suzu is able to save them at the very last second, but Ana is able to take out the Echo. Pushing back Moorhead all the way to the second point, this Doomfist doing absolutely numbers. And the Sojourn able to find the trade on the Doomfist, but it's too late, and Miami Dade able to take the first point. With very little to none contests. Now, I think that if we had played more high ground, that's kind of where you would have seen that to be a little bit harder for the Doomfist, especially this Torbjorn, to get in on you, especially with the Genji. Again, with that kind of dive-style comp that they were going, the Torbjorn's not really going to do very much of anything. And so I think that's something that Moorhead could have done better. But Meteor Strike done by the Doomfist, probably going to go into the back line, not going to accomplish anything, just goes back to 13. Now this turret's going to be very annoying. D.Va going very up close to try and stop it. The Sleep Dart hits D.Va. Defense Matrix trying to save themselves, but with little healing left with Lucio and Kiriko, you're not able to live for very long. D.Va killing the Doomfist. This is their spawn, so respawn timers will be very, very, very shortened. Lucio's trying to get a little bit aggressive here onto the enemy team. Sleep Dart hits the D.Va. Not very much to be done there. Now, Moorhead's trying to maintain the space of this arch here. This arch determines essentially who wins this match, and the last point. The arch, if they're able to take it, if they're able to push past it, does not allow for very many good angles, especially for those long-range characters like Torbjorn and Ana. Doomfist dying early is going to be very bad for Miami Dade, and Kitsune Rush and the Sojourn ultimate both popped. Should be a pretty easy fight win. Echo Laser is able to execute the Genji there, and nobody from Miami Dade is left standing except for the Lifeweaver. So, Miami Dade uses Torbjorn ultimate as well as Doomfist ultimate in order to try and take some space and push past this archway. But Moorhead uses Kiriko Rush as well as the Sojourn ultimate in order to try and push them back. Notice how we didn't use Beat. That is necessary in order to help us get sustained in this next fight, where they're going to be using the Nano Blade combination. So, Ana has her Nano ultimate, and Genji has his Dragon Blade. That too is a combo made in heaven. And so Beat is a popular way in order to try and counter some of that burst damage that Genji gets. So there's the Dragon Blade, and the Nano doesn't come out onto the Genji! And Genji is left pretty much with nothing. We beat to try and save Tyler, but Is it enough in order to do anything? Tree of Life is popped. Going to be a lot of healing, but we're booping them passive it. Pushing them back to this key critical archway point that I was talking about. And Genji, without the help of that nano boost, was unable to get anything that fight. So notice is that something that you need to be aware of is the synergies on your team. And so things like the Rush Sojourn ult are things that help Moorhead to with these big wombo combo style ultimates. Nanoblade is one of those, and we didn't see them use it. Perhaps Genji was out of line of sight or unable to do anything, but didn't get very much out of that. Now, Doomfist tries to go in, but unable to get very much of anything. Tries to block some of this damage. Again, this archway is absolutely just brutal for the attacking team. The nano is popped onto the Doomfist. Manages to kill 2 with that punch. This is going to be a lost fight for Moorhead. I don't know what they're going to be able to do to contest this. The rush happens, but maybe too soon. Sojourn Ultimate tries to take back some of the space. But is it enough? Can't kill the Ana. The life grip is just barely able to save her. And with no healers remaining on the field, the Sojourn's going to be forced to go to the health pack. Kills the Ana though with the rail! Absolutely massive. Is the Sojourn going to be able to do it? Massive damage. The Diva Bomb tries to get popped, but it isn't enough. The Doomfist punch pushes the Sojourn back into the wall. And Diva falls pretty much right after. Moorhead is essentially in a last chance moment to try and protect this point. Are they able to do it? I don't think so. They have Echo Copy available very soon. 95%. However, it might not be enough. We have Soldier Ultimate with his Visor and Tree of Life available on the side of Miami Dade. Very strong ultimates. Echo Ultimate, maybe not as strong. We switched to a Zarya in order to try and combat some of the poke damage that we're getting from the Soldier and the Genji. Is it enough? Echo Ultimates copies the Soldier, but the Visor is just going to do so much damage. This bubble is doing absolute work though. Wild Viking able to kill 1. And there is the Echo Copy Soldier Ultimate. Not able to get very much. Sojourn Rail finds the Life Weaver. And with only 1 healer remaining in the Kiriko, 0 healers remaining, Miami Dade is going to fall like dominoes. And the Dragon Blade is just not going to be enough to do anything meaningful. Gets picked off very quickly by the Zarya. Doomfist left stranded on an island, unable to accomplish anything. And there you go. That's a fight 1. So notice that the DPS on the side of Miami Dade are not getting the proper help from their supports. And so these combos that would be so strong in the right hands aren't able to do very much. And now we have Beat from Moorhead as well as Kitsune Rush available very soon. They swap to a Reinhardt to try and contest the point, but it's not enough and the first point falls. Moorhead have pretty much cut it out for them on the attack side. But the real question is, what will the comps be going into this first point? If played properly defensively by Miami Dade, King's Row can be absolutely brutal. If you are unable to get past that very first point and get onto point to make something happen, it becomes very difficult to contest the defending team. Now you saw Miami Dade push right past it with the Doomfist and the Genji. Will Moorhead do the same? Let's find out. Moving on to attacking side Moorhead, defending side Miami Dade. On the hero select, let's see where they go. So we see a Widowmaker pick from the side of Moorhead as well as a Wrecking Ball. Now, I've heard tales of Wild Vikings Wrecking Balls, but it looks like we're opting for the Zarya to kind of go for more of a brawl style. Now, Moorhead's goal, especially with this Tracer, is to use Zarya and Lucio to kind of sink all of the damage from Miami Dade and eat all of their cooldowns. Well, the Tracer and the Kiriko are able to sneak past and go behind. Will they be able to accomplish that, especially with the Torbjorn? Let's find out. Obviously, we also opt for a Lucio pick, which is good for kind of the more rush-style comps. Kiriko, Abi here, flexing the Seraphim stance. Anybody who doesn't know, stream Perfect Night by LeSeraphim. Alright, let's go into the first point. Sleep Dart just barely misses. And again, that Tracer and the Zarya pushing right past this point. Right, we're making it right past the area that we were talking about. Tracer, blinking a couple times past. I don't think Miami Dade spotted them. They're choosing not to go through the building and instead opt for trying to get any angle on the Sigma. Sigma Rock hits the Zarya, but the Zarya's with the bubble. It's almost full charge. Absolutely melting everybody. Venture finds the Widowmaker in the backline. And Lucio pushes past. Now the Venture is going to kill the Lucio. This is a bad fight for us. We're going to have to retreat back to behind this wall. So notice how we almost accomplished our goal of pushing right past this little double doorway here. This is the key part of King's Row first point. If you're able to push past that and get on the right side of the statue, that's your win condition for Moorhead. Zarya goes, the rest of the team should follow. Sojourn stays back instead, try and get some poke damage. Kiriko goes to the left side. And Zarya taking absolutely tons of damage. 94 charge here. Gonna be doing a lot of damage. Anti-Need comes off the Suzu. Perfectly cleanses everything. But pulling back. We have no more cooldowns remaining. Wild Viking going, trying to kill that Sigma through his Flux. Nice shield there to stop the rock. Sigma's very low. Unable to protect himself. The Sigma falls. This is gonna be a massive fight in order for the Moorhead. Now, they nano the Venture, I think, and is it enough to kill the Lucio? Yes, but is it enough to save the point? I think not. The Lifeweaver falls. All that's left is the Venture in order to try and save everything. But when Kiriko just blinks away, it's very, very tricky for this Venture, who normally is someone who likes very up-close and chaotic fights. When everybody's looking at them, the point falls. Moorhead are able to take this first point. As long as the Sigma doesn't contest it, which it looks like he's not going to be able to, the Zarya is going to be shredding right through this. Gravitic Flux from the Sigma, instantly canceled by the grab from the Zarya. Perfect ultimate play from Moorhead. And what do we see? We see that Miami Dade is lacking one support ultimate in the Nano. Well, Moorhead has two in the Rush and Beat coming soon. The Rail able to pick off the Ana. This is going to be very good. Tyler is choosing to stick back on the point, while the rest of the team pushes forward. Now, this Sojourn is absolutely shredding the enemy team here. Rail after rail after rail, the enemies fall. It's like a skate park with all the rails that are hitting their heads. Now, they're left with Venture Ult, Tree of Life, and Molten Core from Torbjorn. Molten Core only really protects a small area from being taken, and especially when you have ultimates like Kitsune Rush from Kiriko, it's going to be hard for that to have any impact. What's really important is how this Lifeweaver places his Tree of Life to protect his team from dying, especially when those Sojourn ult comes. If used too early, that could spell doom for Miami Dade. Venture looks for a flank here, not finding anything. Sojourn sticking on the right side. Here's Tree of Life again. I think it's used too early. Kitsune Rush to try and counter it. Venture manages to pick up the Lucio. Molten Core from the Torbjorn pushes Moorhead back, but I don't know if this is enough. With Beat and Sojourn ultimate still remaining, I don't know how Miami Dade is hoping to protect this next fight. We're going to be able to build up Grav and Copy and Beat and Sojourn ultimate. Not looking so good for Miami Dade. I believe that last fight had too many ultimates used on the side of Miami Dade, and maybe even on the side of Moorhead as well. I think Kitsune Rush might have been a little early. And now there's the Venture ultimate. Beat popped absolutely perfectly, manages to save the entire team. Zarya going in against them. Life Grip tries to save the Sigma, but it isn't enough. The Venture copied Echo is going to be doing too much damage. Torbjorn tries to escape barely with his life. Unable to do it. This Sojourn absolutely shredding everybody. And like I said, when Tree of Life is popped too early, you don't have that ultimate for these final fights. It's going to be the second map 1 for Moorhead. And that's map 2. Play of the game going to Taz21 on the Echo. This Venture was absolutely beautiful because it goes under the shield, able to penetrate through that and kill the enemy team pretty much with no repercussions, again without any major support ultimates. And you're left stranded when they tend to use these massive combos of ultimates. And that's map 2. We shall return shortly with map 3. Game. So welcome to New Junk City. New Junk City is a flashpoint style map, which means each team will be required to take, I believe, up to 3 or 5 different points. We're still waiting for players. There we go. Now we're on the hero selection. New Junk City, very, very large map with lots of different angles. So potentially you're looking at a Tracer, you're looking at a Sombra, you're looking at Obviously, Lucio, you're looking at Kiriko in order to try and get more maneuverability. That's what we're going to be seeing in this game. Potentially, you may even see a Wrecking Ball. Now, Wrecking Ball, what he does is he is able to distract the enemies. And look, just as I said it, you do see a Wrecking Ball on the side of Wild Viking. And a Doomfist instead of the Sigma from the side of Goku. Now, Wrecking Ball's goal, as with Doomfist, is to distract the enemies and get rid of their cooldowns. Once that's done, things like Sojourn and Genji are able to take long-range duels against the enemy backline in order to try and tick them away and maintain space. Wrecking Ball is able to maintain health because he doesn't necessarily need a support with him. He's able to utilize health packs because of his mobility. And so we're going to be able to see how this all works out. Obviously, Kiriko Lucio on the side of Moorhead, and Moira Juno on the side of Miami-Dade. So, there goes the Wrecking Ball, again, trying to distract the enemy team, getting rid of their cooldowns, trying to pull their crosshairs towards him. And all the while, the rest of Moorhead is killing the enemy tank. Now, our Genji falls a little bit early, however, that's okay, as it's traded for the Doomfist and the Moira. This is going to be a pretty easily one fight for Moorhead, unless something devastating happens. Genji uses his deflect a little bit early, unable to protect himself from the incoming fire of bullets. Sojourn full charge on the rail, activates it, misses the Reaper. Wrecking Ball all the while, distracting enemies, and moving in the backline. As is its... Oh, and a massive kill by the Recall Melee from Task 21 on the Tracer. Now we see what they're going to be doing. Moorhead is they're going to be trying to maintain the space in this room all the time. Wrecking Ball is on the side, distracting the enemies with his movement. So they do end up swapping to the Sigma. That's what I had said was going to happen in the first place. And Wrecking Ball on the side, hoping to distract this Reaper. Tracer pulls in. All the crosshairs are moved. Now the Sojourn has absolute control over the enemy team. Has full rail charge. Kills the Moira with a beautiful rail to the head. And without a support, this is going to be a very difficult fight for Miami-Dade in order to maintain their health bars. The Genji falls from a lone Wrecking Ball in the back, and Sigma falls afterwards. Just like dominoes, all of Miami-Dade are falling in order. Moira left, probably going to be staggered, and a beautiful rail from Veracity takes them down. That's a team kill from Moorhead, and a perfect execution of what I believe is their team's plan. So you see Calamity switches to that Cassidy. I don't think Cassidy's as strong as someone like an Ashe or a Sojourn on this map. But Cassidy, especially on the next point, could potentially see some good play. Now Tracer on the side. Miami-Dade sneaks past. A really, really well-placed headshots from Calamity. Finds Tracer, takes that health bar down to almost nothing. Tracer goes back on the flank, tries to get anything. And the Reaper with no Wraith is a floating target in order for the Tracer to try and kill. And there it goes. Reaper falls. This is going to be a very difficult fight. Coalescence popped from Miami-Dade. Kitsune Rush and Sojourn Ultimate are popped from the side of Moorhead. Sojourn Ultimate may be unnecessary. Without the healer, I don't necessarily know if it's as easy for Miami-Dade to maintain that sustain in that fight. However, 2 ultimates used for the price of 2, or for the price of 1, I would say that's a fine trade. It depends how you use it. Now, Miami-Dade maintains Nano, as well as Death Blossom and Gravital Flux coming soon. Moorhead maintains Minefield and Beat, with, I mean, maybe a Pulse coming soon, but Pulse isn't necessarily really an ultimate, much as it is a 4th ability from Tracer. Railgun fully powered, and let's check in with Wrecking Ball. On the side, look at this movement from the Wrecking Ball. Wild Viking up in the skies, gonna be able to pull the crosshairs once it's time. Sojourn falling a little bit low. And Tracer gets an early pick, and there goes Wrecking Ball in order to draw the crosshairs. It's a massive fight. Tracer gets stunned. Oh, and gets killed by Calamity. A beautiful shot. And Sigma uses Gravital Flux in order to only just die. Death Blossom is popped, killing Veracity, but is it enough to win the fight? All that's left is Wild Viking to try and protect the point. But no tank on the side of Miami-Dade. Wild Viking retreats, pulls back to his team. Ooh, and we see an Orisa pick on the side of Miami-Dade. This could be interesting in order to try and block some of the damage that's being done by the Sojourn. That's absolutely just shredding the health bars of Miami Dade. There goes Wrecking Ball, pulling the crosshairs. Calamity's looking the other direction, which gives the perfect chance for Sojourn. Reaper, no Wraith ability. Falls behind cover, and there goes Taz. A beautiful Wild Viking, a beautiful minefield, manages to find a couple. Veracity gets 2 kills. Kiriko damage is absolutely wild. Wraith from the Reaper is popped. Lots of damage done on Wild Viking. Are they going to be able to escape? Yes! Gets a Suzu from the Kiriko, and a beautiful minefield just happens to find the Reaper. Now, what did we see that fight? We got to see amazing distraction being done by Wild Viking. Now, Taz21 dying a little early, totally fine. A Tracer isn't going to be the pivotal thing in a team fight. But you didn't use a single support ult on the side of Moorhead. This is critical for this next flashpoint, which I believe is what decides the game. I don't know that for a fact. Both teams looking to maintain space over here. Wrecking Ball all the way on the side. Kiriko finds the Life Weaver! Absolutely beautiful, followed up by the rail by Veracity. It's absolutely perfect. Now, Orisa with 0 cooldowns, gonna fall super quickly to Veracity. Now, this might look not very good, but you'll forget that the Wrecking Ball and the Kiriko, as I said, are able to take the point and distract the enemy team. Again, just beautiful execution. Kiriko looking for a kill on Calamity. Unable to find it, gets run down by Dante Kazira. Dante's, I don't know. And Tracer picks off the Reaper? Yes. Yes, they do. Now, Miami Dade takes the point very briefly, but with lots of ultimates on the side of Moorhead, not going to last for very long. Tree of Life is popped, potentially a little bit prematurely. Kitsune Rush, as the Tree of Life is wearing off, is going to be able to help them kill pretty much everybody on Miami Dade's team. Oh, beautiful shots by Veracity. Manages to take out 2 of Miami Dade's characters. And with Veracity's follow-up with those Sojourn fully charged rails, it's lights for Miami Dade. Cassidy just staggered at the very end. Beautifully played. Only 1 ultimate used. But you'll notice, the second that Tree of Life falls, they become a sitting duck. Because once Tree of Life is over, it's free money for Veracity to use Kitsune Rush and take as much space as physically possible extremely fast. Now, Terra Surge now ready on the side of Miami Dade. How much is that going to do in a team fight when you have 2 characters that can blink away? Probably not a ton. They switch to a Junkrat and Kiriko instead of the Life Weaver. Don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Junkrat more of an anti-shield character. Kiriko falls very low. Oh, what a pulse from Taz! Absolutely fumbles and dies for it. Oh, but Veracity is able to clean up with a beautiful rail, and there comes the Terra Surge, and the Beat tries to save the team. And that's a 3-0 score for Moorhead, and that's game 3.